Welcome to True Crime Case Files. In today's episode, we delve into a case that rocked the glittering lights of Las Vegas, the tragic death of a man who fell from the balcony of a famed casino. Was it murder or a case of bad judgment? Join us as we peel back the layers of this mysterious case. In the vibrant heart of Van Nuys, California, Jake Sarkeesian, a 29-year-old music producer, was forging a promising career path. With a bachelor's degree from the University of California, Los Angeles, Sarkeesian had quickly made a name for himself in the competitive music industry. His specialty was working with up-and-coming indie artists, a niche that was gaining traction in the mid-2000s with the rise of social media platforms like MySpace, which were beginning to revolutionize how music was shared and discovered. Sarkeesian lived and breathed his work, often spotted at iconic venues like the Troubadour and the Roxy, where he sought out new talent. His dedication was not just to his craft, but also to his family, with whom he maintained a close bond. His sister, Ava, often spoke of Jake's unwavering support, and his parents, Michael and Susan, were his bedrock, providing encouragement from his earliest forays into music. In the days leading up to his death, Sarkeesian was riding a wave of professional success and personal happiness. He was involved in producing an album for a band that had recently caught the attention of Rolling Stone magazine, and he was eagerly anticipating his upcoming wedding to Willa Mallory, a singer in the indie band A Boxer's Carousel. Friends reported that he was full of dreams, not only for his career but also for starting a family. October of 2005 was a bustling time in Las Vegas, with tourists flooding the city for events like the Las Vegas Bike Fest and the buzz around the upcoming release of the Xbox 360. Sarkeesian, too, was drawn to the city's allure, planning a bachelor party that would be remembered for its extravagance. He and his friends checked into the MGM Grand, a symbol of the opulence that Vegas embodied, ready to celebrate what should have been one of the happiest times of his life. Little did anyone know it would be his last revelry. On October 4, 2005, the Las Vegas Strip, a beacon of ceaseless activity, was the scene of a grim discovery. At approximately 2:30 a.m., the temperature still hovered around a warm 70 degrees despite the late hour, typical of the desert climate. The MGM Grand, a towering emblem of the city's luxury and decadence, was where Jake Sarkeesian's life came to an abrupt and tragic end. Rick Harmon, a seasoned security guard employed by the MGM Grand, was making his routine patrol when he encountered a scene that stood in stark contrast to the usual revelry of Vegas nightlife. Lying motionless on the pavement below one of the hotel room balconies was the body of Sarkeesian. The shock of finding a deceased guest was a rare occurrence for Harmon, who had spent years navigating the ebbs and flows of the casino's ecosystem. The MGM Grand, known for hosting high-profile events like the 2005 Billboard Music Awards, was now the backdrop for a potential crime scene. Harmon, trained for various emergencies, maintained his composure as he radioed for assistance. Within minutes, the area was cordoned off, and the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police were notified. Harmon, who had witnessed the aftermath of gambling losses and the occasional scuffle, was unprepared for the gravity of this situation. His immediate call to the authorities was critical in preserving the integrity of the crime scene. The hotel, which prided itself on providing a fantasy escape for tourists, was now under the scrutiny of a real-life investigation. As word of the incident began to spread, the early morning calm of the Strip was pierced by the arrival of first responders. The flashing lights of police cars and ambulances reflected off the casino's grand facade, a stark reminder of the city's potential for darkness amidst the lights. The Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department was swift to respond to the MGM Grand's call in the early hours of October 4, 2005. The Strip, usually pulsating with the sounds of slot machines and lively crowds, was momentarily hushed as detectives arrived on the scene. Detectives Laura Chiu and Mark Euchre, both seasoned officers, were tasked with unraveling the mystery of Jake Sarkeesian's fall. Detective Chiu, with her keen analytical mind, had a reputation for her thoroughness, while Detective Euchre, known for his intuitive approach, offered a complementary skill set. Together, they approached the scene, which was conspicuously undisturbed apart from the tragic evidence of a life lost. A single chair lay overturned near the balcony's edge. The detectives immediately secured the area, mindful of the MGM Grand's high-profile status. The hotel, which had recently hosted celebrities for the Andre Agassi Grand Slam for Children benefit concert, was now the focus of a different kind of attention. The balcony, offering a panoramic view of the Strip, became the center of a meticulous forensic examination. As they combed through the scene, Chiu and Euchre collected fingerprints and canvassed for witnesses, although the early morning hour and the aftermath of a night of revelry meant few were coherent or observant enough to provide solid testimony. The detectives also requested surveillance footage, which the MGM Grand, equipped with state-of-the-art security systems, was able to provide. The crime scene, while outwardly clean, held the silent clues to what had transpired. The lack of struggle suggested that Sarkeesian's fall could have been accidental. However, the detectives were not quick to dismiss the possibility of foul play. Every detail was documented, from the position of the furniture to the pattern of broken glass below, as they sought to piece together the final moments of the music producer's life. The investigation into Jake Sarkeesian's death led detectives to Dave Valerie, a 31-year-old real estate agent with a charismatic presence and a hunger for success. Valerie, Sarkeesian's best friend and best man, was known for closing deals in the burgeoning Las Vegas property market, a sector that was experiencing a boom akin to the city's ever-expanding skyline. In the days preceding the incident, Dave had been actively involved in the planning of Sarkeesian's bachelor party, a gathering that was to be filled with the usual Vegas fanfare. However, beneath the surface of their friendship lay a complex web of personal relationships. Dave had been secretly involved with Sarkeesian's fiancée, Willa Mallory, adding a potential motive to the investigation. During the interrogation, conducted at the police headquarters, a building that had seen the rise and fall of many such cases, Dave's demeanor oscillated between composed and visibly shaken. He insisted on his innocence, recounting his version of the night's events with a mix of clarity and convenient gaps in memory. The detectives noted his reactions, aware that the cocktail of alcohol and high emotions could have played a role in the tragedy. The police probed Valerie's financials, looking for any signs of debt or monetary motive that could have driven him to foul play. They found nothing amiss. His career was flourishing, much like the real estate market, which had been bolstered by the recent housing boom. His dreams of establishing his own agency seemed within reach, and yet, his actions suggested a man with something to hide. As the interrogation continued, investigators cross-referenced Dave's statements with witness accounts and surveillance footage. The question remained, was Dave Valerie a grieving friend, or was his affair with Willa Mallory a catalyst for murder? Willa Mallory, a 26-year-old singer with the indie band A Boxer's Carousel, found herself at the center of a police investigation following the untimely death of her fiancé, Jake Sarkeesian. With dreams of stardom, Willa's ethereal voice had begun to capture the attention of the Los Angeles music scene, a far cry from the glaring neon lights of the Las Vegas Strip where tragedy struck. Despite her physical absence from the MGM Grand on the night of Sarkeesian's fall, her connection to the victim and her clandestine relationship with Dave Valerie, Sarkeesian's best man, placed her under the detective's scrutiny. The police, in an attempt to establish a timeline, reviewed calls and messages between Willa and Dave, seeking to understand the nature of their affair. During the interrogation, Willa maintained a calm and detached demeanor, reminiscent of her stage persona, which often enchanted audiences. She insisted that her relationship with Sarkeesian was unwavering and that her affair with Dave was a mistake she deeply regretted. Her alibi for the night in question was corroborated by bandmates and friends who confirmed her presence at a small gig in Silver Lake, a venue known for its support of independent artists. The detectives, experienced in dissecting such complex personal dynamics, pressed Willa on her feelings about the impending marriage. She spoke of cold feet and the pressures of commitment, common themes in the lyrics of her band's recent album, which had received a modest review in Pitchfork magazine earlier that year. The interrogation revealed a tangled web of emotions, yet no direct link to the incident at the MGM Grand. With the Las Vegas real estate market buzzing in the background and the city's entertainment industry in full swing, the police were left to ponder whether Willa's regrets had manifested in a deadly outcome or if her sorrow was genuine. As the Las Vegas sun cast a golden hue over the city on the morning of October 6, 2005, the investigation into Jake Sarkeesian's death took a pivotal turn. The weather was typical of a Nevada fall, with temperatures comfortably sitting in the mid-70s. The Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department received a call from the MGM Grand, reporting a potential piece of evidence discovered by one of their housekeeping staff. Maria Lopez, a diligent housekeeper, had found a discarded cell phone wedged between cushions in the lobby area of the same floor where Sarkeesian's bachelor party had taken place. The phone, a recent model Nokia, was turned over to the police, who immediately began to sift through its contents for clues. Upon examination, the device revealed a series of text messages that appeared to be exchanged between Dave Valerie and Ginny Hughes Barnett, a British adult entertainer who had performed at the party. The content of these messages suggested a premeditated arrangement, casting a new shadow of suspicion on the case. Detectives Chiu and Euchre, who had been following the real-time updates of the case through their BlackBerries, were quick to respond to this new lead. They recognized the gravity of the evidence, which could potentially shift the narrative from a tragic accident to a calculated crime. The police's response was measured and methodical. They cross-referenced the newly found phone records with those obtained from the service provider, corroborating the timestamps and origins of the messages. This meticulous approach was emblematic of the LVMPD's commitment to thoroughness, a standard that had been set high in the wake of the city's growing crime rates, which had been a focal point of local media coverage. The new evidence prompted a re-evaluation of the case, with detectives considering the implications of a conspiracy. The messages hinted at a deeper involvement between Dave and Ginny, raising questions about their potential collaboration in Sarkeesian's demise. The glimmering Las Vegas skyline was a stark contrast to the somber mood at the police station as detectives turned their focus to Ginny Hughes Barnett, a 27-year-old British adult entertainer. Hughes Barnett, known for her vivacious performances on the Las Vegas circuit, was now a person of interest in a case that was becoming as intricate and multifaceted as the city itself. Ginny had been hired to perform at Jake Sarkeesian's bachelor party, an event that promised a night of excess and celebration. However, it had ended in a tragedy that now had her at the center of a police investigation. Her aspirations reached beyond the glittering marquees of Sin City. She dreamt of establishing her own production company, elevating her from the transient nature of her current profession. During the interrogation, Ginny's initial demeanor was one of guarded reservation, a stark departure from the confidence she exuded on stage. Detectives Chiu and Euchre noted the shift in her composure as they presented the text messages unearthed from the Nokia phone found by the MGM Grand's housekeeping staff. The exchange of messages between Ginny and Dave Valerie suggested a connection that went beyond professional boundaries. The police prodded for details, attempting to uncover any financial incentives or promises made that could link her to Sarkeesian's death. Ginny's responses began to unravel, revealing a web of communication that implicated her in a more complex narrative than initially believed. As the interrogation unfolded, the detectives were mindful of the media circus that was brewing outside. In a city where high-profile cases often became fodder for tabloids and news outlets, maintaining the integrity of the investigation was paramount. The Las Vegas Review-Journal had already caught wind of the case, and headlines were imminent. The police knew that every piece of evidence would be critical in piecing together the events that led to Sarkeesian's fall. Ginny Hughes Barnett, once a mere performer in the backdrop of Vegas entertainment, was now a key figure in a potential homicide investigation. The investigation into the death of Jake Sarkeesian reached a critical juncture as Las Vegas Metropolitan Police detectives pieced together a narrative that pointed to a single individual, Dave Valerie. At 31, Valerie's life as a successful real estate agent was marked by ambition and the pursuit of the American dream, a dream that thrived in the fertile economic climate of 2005's property market. Valerie, the best man and longtime friend of the victim, had been harboring a secret that cast a long shadow over his seemingly genuine grief. His affair with Sarkeesian's fiancée, Willa Mallory, was a clandestine twist that detectives uncovered through careful analysis of phone records and witness statements. The breakthrough came when detectives cross-referenced the text messages from the Nokia phone with security footage from the MGM Grand, which showed Valerie in a heated exchange with Sarkeesian on the balcony moments before the fall. The footage, time-stamped and unambiguous, contradicted Valerie's earlier statements of innocence and ignorance regarding the events leading up to the tragedy. His motive was as old as time, a lethal combination of love, jealousy, and opportunity. In a city where fortunes were made and lost with the roll of a dice, Valerie had gambled with his friend's life for the chance to be with Willa. It was a bet that cost Sarkeesian his life and now placed Valerie at the center of a murder investigation. The Las Vegas community, which had been following the case through news reports by outlets like Class TV, was shocked as the details of the case emerged. The city, no stranger to crime, was once again reminded of the personal dramas that unfolded behind the neon facade. As the evidence mounted, the image of Dave Valerie shifted from a bereaved best friend to a calculated murderer, driven by a passion that had turned fatally destructive. The police had their murderer, and with solid evidence in hand, they prepared to make their case against him. As the neon spectacle of Las Vegas buzzed into the dusk of October 10, 2005, the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department closed in on Dave Valerie, the man now suspected of causing Jake Sarkeesian's fatal descent from the MGM Grand's balcony. The evening air was tinged with the desert chill that heralded the onset of night, and with it, the end of Valerie's pretense of innocence. The city, a hub of ceaseless activity, was momentarily upstaged by the gravity of the arrest. Valerie, a real estate agent who had woven a web of deceit around his best friend's fiancée, was apprehended at his upscale residence. A home that mirrored the boom in luxury living that Las Vegas was experiencing amid the real estate surge of the mid-2000s. Detectives Chiu and Euchre, accompanied by a team of officers, executed the arrest with the precision of seasoned professionals. Valerie, confronted with the damning surveillance footage and the incriminating text messages, was visibly stunned. His belief in the perfect crime, fueled by the intoxicating mix of love and betrayal, had been his undoing. The reaction from Jake Sarkeesian's family was a complex tapestry of emotions. Relief at the progress of the case was overshadowed by the heart-wrenching realization that Sarkeesian's trusted friend had betrayed him in the most heinous way. The family, who had been following developments through local news reports on channels such as Fox 5, was now faced with the task of reconciling the charming image of Valerie with that of a cold-blooded murderer. As Valerie was led away in handcuffs, the glittering lights of the Strip seemed to dim in the face of such a personal and profound tragedy. The arrest marked a turning point in the case, providing some semblance of closure to Sarkeesian's loved ones, while the city of Las Vegas continued to pulse with life, oblivious to the drama that had unfolded within its midst. The trial of Dave Valerie commenced under the watchful eyes of a city that had seen its share of spectacle and sorrow. The courtroom was a microcosm of the Las Vegas community, a place where the pursuit of justice was as relentless as the pursuit of fortune on the casino floors. The Clark County Courthouse, a building steeped in the legal wranglings of the bustling metropolis, was the stage for this latest drama. Prosecuting the case was Sully Cagney, a 40-year-old attorney whose reputation for tenacity was well known in legal circles. His approach was methodical, echoing the meticulous nature of the investigation that had led to Valerie's arrest. He painted a picture of a man whose ambition and illicit desire had culminated in the ultimate betrayal. Opposing him was Tim Dixon, a 45-year-old defense attorney with a calm demeanor that belied his strategic acumen. Sloan's defense hinged on creating reasonable doubt, capitalizing on the chaotic nature of the night in question, a night fueled by the excesses that Las Vegas both celebrated and condemned. Throughout the proceedings, Jake Sarkeesian's family sat in the gallery, their presence a silent testament to the gravity of their loss. The emotional toll was etched on their faces, a stark contrast to the stoic expressions of the jury members who would determine Valerie's fate. The family's grief was palpable, a reminder that behind the headlines and legal posturing were real people grappling with an unimaginable reality. The trial, covered by local media outlets such as the Las Vegas Sun, captivated the city. The public followed the unfolding narrative, discussing the latest developments in hushed tones on the monorail or in the queues for the latest Cirque du Soleil performance. As the city continued its dance of light and shadow, the courtroom bore witness to the unfolding of a human drama that would leave an indelible mark on all involved. The corridors of the Clark County Courthouse were abuzz with anticipation as the trial of Dave Valerie reached its climax. After days of deliberation, the jury, a cross-section of the Las Vegas populace, returned with a verdict that would seal the fate of the accused. The courtroom, usually a place of order and procedure, bristled with the tension of a high-stakes poker game reaching its final, decisive hand. Guilty, the word resonated through the courtroom, a solemn echo that marked the end of speculation and the beginning of retribution. Valerie, the man who had once navigated the thriving Las Vegas real estate market with confidence, now stood deflated, the weight of his actions culminating in a life sentence without the possibility of parole. The sentence was as severe as the Nevada desert is unforgiving, reflecting the community's and the judicial system's repudiation of his crime. The verdict was met with mixed reactions. For some, justice had been served, the punishment fitting the heinous nature of the crime. Others debated the morality of the life sentence, questioning whether the scales of justice had tipped too far. The Las Vegas Review-Journal's coverage of the sentencing provoked discussions that spilled over into the city's bustling coffee shops and casinos, where opinions on high-profile cases were as common as the clatter of slot machines. For Jake Sarkeesian's family, the verdict brought a semblance of closure, albeit tinged with the perpetual sorrow of their loss. Their reaction was a complex blend of relief and enduring heartache, the finality of the court's decision offering little solace for the life snatched away so senselessly. As the news of the sentencing rippled through the city, the effects of the verdict reverberated beyond the confines of the courtroom. Friends, family, and the individuals connected to the case were left to navigate the aftermath of a tragedy that had become a part of Las Vegas's darker history. The gavel's fall in the Clark County Courthouse signaled not just the end of the trial, but the beginning of a long journey for those entwined in the saga of Dave Valerie and Jake Sarkeesian. In the aftermath, the Las Vegas community, a tapestry of neon lights and desert dreams, continued its relentless pace, while those affected sought a path forward. The Sarkeesian family, forever altered by the loss of Jake, channeled their grief into action. They established a scholarship in his name at the University of California, Los Angeles, his alma mater, to support aspiring music producers. It was a fitting tribute to a man whose life was dedicated to the discovery and nurturing of musical talent. Detectives Laura Chiu and Mark Euchre, whose investigative work had been crucial to the case's resolution, carried on with their duties, their experience with the Sarkeesian case adding a somber depth to their understanding of the city's undercurrents. The case had been a high-profile feather in their caps, but the satisfaction of a job well done was tempered by the knowledge of the pain it had caused. Jenny Hughes Barnett, the British entertainer who had witnessed the underbelly of Las Vegas glamour, left the industry. The trial had cast a spotlight she never sought, and she retreated from the public eye, seeking solace in a quieter life away from the Strip's pulsating energy. As for the MGM Grand, the site of the tragedy, it remained a symbol of Las Vegas opulence, its narrative uninterrupted by the events of that fateful night. The casino continued to draw tourists from around the world, its storylines of fortune and fame unceasing. The city itself, a character in the drama, moved on, its heartbeat a constant rhythm of excitement and entertainment. The news cycle shifted, new stories emerged, and the case of Jake Sarkeesian became a part of the city's complex history, a somber reminder that behind the facade of lights, real lives are lived and sometimes lost. The case of Jake Sarkeesian remains a harrowing reminder of the thin line between celebration and tragedy. As the neon lights of Vegas continue to shine, the memory of that fateful night endures, a stark testament to the complexities of human relationships and the dark side of desire. Thank you for joining us on True Crime Case Files. Until next time, stay curious and stay safe. Hey, True Crime Case Solvers, interested in more real-life murder mysteries? Be sure to like and subscribe to our channel. And do you have any thoughts about this case or have a case of your own you'd like us to investigate? Leave us a comment. Until then, stay safe, True Crime Case Solvers.